And now it's all eyes on the lights here in Qatar. Away we go. A good start from Bastianini. Struggled a bit. It's going to be Marini who's going to take the lead into turn one by a mile. Bastianini regroups.
88 bike. He's already inside the top three, but it's Marini who got the dream start to the season. He leads in Qatar.
Joe Roberts went really wide into turn two there. There would have been a few people with their hearts in their mouths. And then the two Red Bull KTM coloured machines.
Well, the early doors, Lorenzo Baldassarre and Xavi Vierge. He has not a bad start from last year's race winner.
Bezzecchi struggling a bit there on power. Ben Snyder's dropped to 10th, connects in 11th. Flutie then up 6 places, one ahead of his teammate Marcel.
Martini was really aggressive from middle of the third row. He's got up the inside of Joe Roberts. He's got the elbow sharp.
Didn't they, at the Red Bull Ring last year? Bastianini said it destroyed him.
Finished him, yeah.
Absolutely destroyed.
And he leads them. It's got to be the first time Bastianini's been at the front of a Moto2 race. It's Jorge Mario team, but no official KTM involvement in Moto2 in 2020. So Jorge Martin
from Luca Marini, who's immediately trying to attack again. He goes through. Roberts thought about a move on Martin into turn one.
Somkiat Chance has rejoined the race, so the tyre riders obviously had an early crash on the first lap of the season. Marcos Ramirez, a double winner last year in Moto3 on the Leopard Honda. That switch up to Moto2 has been...
Front end looks a bit twitchy in the early stages of this one. Aaron connects up one place ahead of Ben Snyder.
How many times did we see this last year, Steve? It's not a sluggish start by the speed-ups in Navarro, but not at least heel for the speed-ups in the past. They don't seem to work well on fresh tyres and with a full fuel ton of times and positions early on for Navarro.
No, Di Gianantonio likewise. He dropped 4 places at the start. He's done... But at the front, it's Marini, number 10 from 33, Bastianini. Number 88, back through now on number 16, Joe Roberts. Remy Gardner, the Aussie, just up behind. Roberts and Gardner.
Right, we've seen this before. Luca Marini is well capable of controlling and managing the race at a long period of time. This is not alien territory right now for Marini as Bastianini gets his pocket. Jorge Martin, he's up in the second place. Was that Navarro?
Yep.
Just in a little bit hot again, struggling to stop that bike.
Right at number 87, Remy Gardner, trying to find a way through on Baldassarre. In fact, Baldassarre's gone up another place.
Last year, when he was a Moto2 rookie, Jorge Martin really struggled. Now Roberts is a little bit wide, more than a little bit wide.
Just wanted to throw something in about the front tyres. Joe's gone on the harder option, obviously. So the difference the riders are telling me is on the brakes, the softer one is a little bold. The harder option, it's only slightly harder, but it's better on the brakes. But it'll go the whole race distance.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, as you just mentioned, Augusto Fernandez with that harder than Mark VDST.
Yeah, the reigning world champions. There's going to be nil quiet at the end of a tough weekend for them. Gardner 15. Joe Roberts at the moment looking well settled. Of course, this is a position in the ground. When he jumped off early doors in Aragon, from there on his form really tapered off as Roberts back on the bony on the brakes into the first corner.
Yeah, it's just getting into his rhythm a bit more now. He had a bit of a nervy start to begin with, didn't he? Here's his team.
Bodywork, weren't they? He's been on the floor that many times. Not the way he wanted to start the season. Tetsuta Nagashima's got in his groove. His pace as the Japanese rider. He's about a 10th or 2 quicker than anybody else currently circulating.
Jorge Martin in second had a stunning end to the 2019 season. He comes into them
completely lost. They really did get thrown a curveball with that new Triumph engine. When you're trying to ATM put a bike underneath both him and Brad Binder from about, what, round 8, 9, 10 onwards, the pair of him.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good at the moment, isn't it, for Jorge Martin? The tendency has been, though, according to
wary as well, because throughout the entire winter testing programme, and he's echoed those sentiments again here, this front-end field, he hasn't quite got that confidence nailed on just yet with the front end of that Calyx chassis. So good for Martin.
In the background, Xavi Vierge looking pretty solid. Bezzecchi's trying to get himself back in the frame as well. Does not make mistakes. That's a lovely move. Lovely move. Your classic change of direction of Augusto Fernandez on board with him. He's gone for the inside line at turn single,
yeah,
but the front end.
I'd say that's racing incident. Unfortunately, that's just a coming together, trying to batter, but I don't think you can lay any blame at his door for that one.
Good scrap going on here from a couple them. Then Bezzecchi, number 72. Behind them, of course, then Navarro, who so far has not
kind of broken out of those troubles from last year. Jorge Navarro. He's got a 2-point, and this kind of form, he's a hard man to hunt down, as we mentioned. Chaliviere, Steve just said on this lap, on the previous, he's only top 6 in the last 14. He had a really tough year in my VDS last season.
Word said by Joe Roberts. He didn't know the guy. He's not considered Joe Roberts as someone that would fight him for any closing in the last couple of corners.
And these laps right now for Joe Roberts are just like gold to World Championship. Luca Marini, mark my words, is going to be one of the main protagonists, one of the big favourites. Push him into that mistake. What Roberts is learning right now in terms of experience and knowledge for
set up, and what a leader they have already in Joe Roberts. He's second at the moment. Looking back now from race,
if he doesn't win the Grand Prix, he's already had one victory for me so far this year, Joe Roberts, and that's the helmet design. That lid is
from the Californian. Further back there, you can just last year in the mix at the start of races and then fading. He's just hit a bit of a brick wall the last couple of.
It's been a humbling opening night for Liqui Moly. Intact GP, who had a double podium here, just picked Gardner to the podium last year by a couple of thousandths of a second. Well, he's desperately trying to cling on to a pull over by Manzi, not a position where you're going to be able to rest on your laurels and be too comfortable, I would imagine.
Bit scrappy on the end, goes through. Marini's hogging the inside line though. He's almost saying you're going to have to go the long way round, but he goes out.
And slick when you run offline that first corner, you've got to be calm on the throttle. John Hopkins there, Fame, calm down. We heard from Hopper talking to Simon before the race. It's the last 4 or 5 laps where the business end of this race.
There have been times in his career where someone might have probably been able to tell John to maybe calm a bit, because he wasn't exactly like that.
Reminding me of this, where basically he's kicking lumps out the side of a factory Suzuki.
Bit of a twitch just then from Luca Marini. He knows he's under pressure now.
Watching from the sidelines now, though, drilled into him and what the conversation I'm sure Ben Spees had with him last night, Ben back in Texas. Marini's not getting away. Marini has not got the pace to break up this field at this stage. A crystal clear look at where Marini's really strong, where Marini's weaknesses are, and he can also see how...
When Joe Roberts first came on the scene in Grand Prix, he showed us that he was very good in the wet, and a lot of people said he's got talent.
59. Baldessari and Nagashima have just exchanged the fastest laps of the race. Navarro finally had danger of getting cut adrift. In fact, he's half a second behind Nagashima, who's really picked up his pace. The Japanese...
Navarro's got time. He's just in the background there, number 9, the speed-up rider. Here, just behind this man, Tetsuta Nagashima. He's got one of the most lovely riding styles you'll ever see on a motorcycle. But back at the front, it's Roberts, Martin in 3rd, Baldessari, last year's race winner in 4th, Bastianini 5th, Vierge.
We know how brutally hard it is to be competitive at this level. This is the elite level in motor. He makes it look so easy. Yeah. We know it's not, but he makes it look like...
I want to look back at that one too often.
Martin nailed it.
Yeah, he did. Bezzecchi must have run into a bit of trouble here. And
things launch off the line. You can see there, briefly, he's got his front wheel in front of Joe Roberts, but it meant that Roberts had the inside. It's nicely done. He's having a good old tussle and joust here with fellow Italian Lorenzo Baldessari. Forney going to hit the front? No. Content at the moment, just to let Marini have it.
Yeah. Baldessari's got back through on Bastianini in the battle for 4th.
And what will for restart? He knows he's got the pace to run with these guys.
All he's going to be thinking of is it's all or nothing.
I'll tell you what, just before the millisecond before your first Grand Prix of the season, you're starting it from pole position, a lot of expectation and weight gain. What I fancy for pole and a podium, Joe Roberts.
Oh, like you say, pleasant surprise is the understatement. I didn't. There's no Joe Roberts, and that's no disrespect meant to him or to NTS either, but they've all done collectively a magnificent job.
Marco Bezzecchi, who, to be fair, was responding. Bezzecchi himself was only a tenth slower. His pretty intense scrap at the moment for 7th and 8th.
Baldessari is up to 3rd place.
Zaro, and he's dragging Remy Gardner with him as well. Last time around, Gardner was about a tenth faster than Navarro. And what about life in the tyres? That's going to be the key question.
Daniel Kazmaudin's debut Grand Prix.
I think it's fair to say, unfortunately for him, it's been the definition of a meter board, of course. No experience really of racing at this level. You'd have been hoping to have...
Petronas sprinter rider Vierge.
He's not very sympathetic on the front tyre either as well. There's been a couple of times where you've seen so aggressive on the brakes, but he is asking big questions of that front end right now.
It's 11 laps remaining, and when we cross the line, we'll be halfway through this Moto2 race.
Then Marini just posing a couple of questions right now to the chasing pack. Oh, Joe Roberts there. That was 5.49. He took a couple of tenths out of Roberts on that previous lap. You just wonder whether Roberts can see.
A constrictor at the front of races sometimes, Luca Marini just squeezes the life out of you. Let's have a look on board then.
It actually probably looked from the outside camera a little bit worse than what it was. Not going to ruffle the feathers. Pulling the pin here, Marini. 2 tenths out of Roberts on the last lap, and he's done it again. Another personal best lap from the Italian. Here in Qatar, there is nobody that can run the pace of Marini. He's trying to make that crucial break.
From both Marini and Roberts. Bastianini then at the front of that one now. Baldassarri just behind, then Vierge.
A determining factor in Luca Marini taking the first win of 2020, because he is going for it here. He's 11th lap already. He's taken another 4 tenths out of Joe Roberts.
In fact, he's setting the same pace as the race leader Luca Marini, the Australian.
With some justification, we've picked him up before, and that would be a best ever for NTS. Lively indeed between...
Well, Baldassarri and Martin might have come together. I think that graphic was a bit wrong there, but either way, Manini now closing up a bit on Joe Roberts in the hunt for second place.
Costly collision. He was third over the line at the start of the last lap, and Martin now is 9.816. Roberts had nothing for him on that last lap. Marini was half a second quicker.
Navarro struggling. He's got Bezzecchi and Gardner for company. Gardner far faster than the 2 ahead of him, right? Vierge, this is the battle for 5th place.
But who was slightly quicker? We shout Joe Roberts has got a big problem with the number 33 right behind him, although Bastianini himself has got a problem he can't contain.
You know, the 2 Liquimoli boys, Matt, are going to be kicking themselves. They're lapping.
Got that buffer now of about a second, and he's brilliant in that situation at stage managing the race. It's good.
Baldassarri and Bastianini looking to make it an Italian 1-2-3 here.
Joe Roberts at 12, he's found 2 tenths on Luca Marini, and now he's just clipped through sector 3, and he's found yet another.
We're entering the unknown, Matt. Crucially, we know Joe Roberts has got the harder front tyre on. The riders he's around at the moment have a significant drop-off here from here on in. Simon.
Yeah, the Dunlop guys say from about 10, we've just passed, that the front tyre will start tearing on the guys that use it.
We get to 8 laps remaining.
Getting a bit feisty through the first corner yet again between Baldassarri and Basti. Flag as an apology to his fellow Italian. Right, fair in love and war, but Navarro's getting some good rhythm.
3 tenths on Marini. Jorge Navarro also good lap, 59.4. He's in 7th place.
Shima was 7 tenths quicker. We're on board with him now. We're on board quite rightly with the fastest man threat for his first World Championship podium.
Well, it would be Kiyo would go for Nagashima. There's still a long way to go here in this race. Anything could happen. Japanese rider trying to find a way through on the beast. And Aya Bastianini, the Italtrans man ahead.
That is by Tetsuta Nagashima. That's how you get the job done coming into turn number 15. That was awesome. Take's going to be getting quite excited. I hope he's got quite long fingernails right now, Mr. Nakagami, because...
Late Shoya Tomazawa, if Nagashima was able to start this new decade with a victory. Together quite nicely here. Half a second now between Marini and Roberts, and the rest of the pack are coming. This was earlier on through and holding on to the lead. That was the only point so far that he's led, other than, of course, stuff.
For half a second as Navarro up the inside of fellow Spaniard Xavi Vierge on the speed up.
Nagashima, if he could get through on Baldassarri here, he's looking really strong. I mean, they're rain forming behind Joe Roberts. Navarro's definitely going to feature. There's still plenty of time for him to even come through to win.
He's coming back to them, and he's coming back to them at a pretty fast rate. Marini's lost yet another tenth already on this lap. It's down performing head and shoulders above anything else we've seen from him as a World Championship rider. Here comes the kitchen sink from the Californian.
Baldassarri knows how it works around this circuit. And
gone, he's disappeared away from the Petronas Sprinter Racing man. Roberts is trying to strike straight back then on Baldassarri. Who's the bravest on the brakes? Joe Roberts has got the inside line. There's no way for Baldassarri to turn in.
Had to have gone straight on or outbraked himself as well, so he did well to pull it up. There's the Petronas Sprinter rider, Xavi.
The speed up clicks into top gear. It's so good at nursing its ties. Navarro, fastest lap of the race circuit.
We're in for a finish here. They're all closing on. Marini as Nagashima pounces the door.
Absolute textbook. Baldassari, though, goes, well, you can have some of it back, mate, and he strikes straight back.
And the eyes up of the speed-up man, Jorge Navarro. This is the stage of the race where he's strongest. But look at Roberts now as well.
The end of that Calix is ridiculous. That was bold and brave in the extreme, trying to get up the inside of Baldassari. It was caught now. He's got Navarro to deal with as well.
This was really, really tight. Mistake from Marini, a mistake. Here comes Joe Roberts. He might even lose a couple of places here because Balda's coming through from third to first. There'll be 5 when they cross the line. What a race we've got in line here.
You can't take your eyes off this one, ladies. It leads over the line to start lap 16. He's under intense pressure, though, from the Italians. Baldassari, Marini are worked through again on Nagashima. Tries it at turn 2. No way through.
Brilliant stuff here. Marco Bezzecchi started to get... believes they can win this race here on the opening night. Bastianini from nowhere. Brilliant late braking to go.
Is he running out of grip at the crucial stage? Baldassari again lunges up the inside of Joe Roberts. Can he make it? But Baldassari's been nowhere since the victory in the Spanish Grand Prix. Almost tell
Qatar. He absolutely loves this place, does the number 7. It's great to see him up there again. But Bastianini also, he's in real trouble.
Shot his bolt by looks at Marini. 5 laps to go. We're about to get into the 1-2. And then we've got an American and a Japanese and a Spanish rider, a real international. In the critical phase of the race, though, John Hopkins called it pre-race. 4-5 laps to the check.
It's about who can manage it the best. Baldassari's trying to make a break here. Across the line, what a lap. This is a 2-minute .1 doesn't sound that great from Baldassari, but he's now got almost 2/10. Roberts, can he get it stopped?
He had the inside line. Roberts drops back into the clutches of Tetsuta Nagashima, another rider. Him as well. You can't rule out Jorge Navarro as well, who's looking menacing on the speed up.
You can't really rule out a continued feat.
Marini's pace has dropped off a cliff. He nearly did a 2:02 on the last lap. Marini went...
Nagashima through on Joe Roberts. So for the first time in a long time, Roberts is out of a podium position. The Japanese rider, he's reeling in Baldassari now. Could we be in for a surprise winner? Number 33, he's never won still without a Moto2 win.
Balda versus the beast in the Middle East. Is it going to cut the final corner? Final couple of corners on this lap, number 17. Nothing between.
Shima looks so good, doesn't he? In third place at the moment. We're now coming up to the final turn. Finish straight we go. Balda will lead across the line, but out of the slipstream pops Bastianini.
Here, bike, he's got the inside line. As he got on the brakes, will he lead for the first time? He's up the inside of the 2 Italians. He does this him on the inside. Can Nagashima hold it into turn 2? Yes, he can.
He's standing them all up, and that's inviting.
Through the field with some serious paces. Aaron Canet, the rookie, he's now in 8th place on the speed. Awesome job, but brilliant ride by him from 16th on the grid.
Get the kitchen sink, unbolt it. There's going to be Nagashima. I have to say, when he's clear and he's got some clear air, his pace in this race has been brilliant.
You said it, mate. What a fitting tribute this would be. Can you imagine? Almost 10 years since Moto2 race right here in Qatar. I remember those emotional scenes like it was yesterday. Enzo Baldassari. Nagashima, though, he's crept that advantage up to almost half a second.
Nagashima never had a podium so far. The Italtrans team are watching on, no fingernails left. Their man.
Never keep Red Bull KTMI out of the picture. They're on course for their 4th straight win as a team. Binder cleaned up the last...
He's blasted them.
He's blitzed them.
59.3.
Only 2 guys that were on the same plan in 6th place for the podium, and Marcel Schrotter's coming on really late on in the race. He's in 9th place with a 50 tar, and he leads by nearly a second from Baldassari.
He's got to hold on to that surely. The 27-year-old Japanese rider who's moved over to Barcelona. His family will move.
Tell you what, Aki doesn't half know how to pick him, does he? What a get.
I mean, we knew he was great and he was sensational last season, but this is just something else from the number 45. And Gardner, his old teammate, might well be on.
He's fighting tooth and nail with these boys. He's on last year's Calix chassis, which we know is so far. But can anybody reel in Tetsuta Nagashima? He's got a buffer, he's got a comfort for second on the final lap, and surely that's not going to happen. What a moment it would be for the Japanese rider. They're working if he can hold on to this. I can feel a lump starting to form in my own throat right now.
Could there be some...
Shima's just found a 1:59.2 on the penultimate lap. Nobody within a mile of him. Look at this red glowing. He's leaving everything out there at the moment. Remy Gardner in search of his first podium, but
Grand Prix it's been for Tetsuta Nagashima without a podium to his name. And he looks on course here to pin at the start of the last decade and sadly passed away later that year. The start of this decade, Nagashima
can't blow it. Surely he can't blow it from this point now. He's deep into the second sector. We'll check his Adu sector 2, and it's great news for Nagashima fans and Japanese fans because he still leads by 1 point.
The unit there of Joe Roberts is still Balder in second, Bastianini third. Marini, by the way,
He was a second clear, wasn't he, on lap 11? Luca Marini. He's going to just about cling on to a place, and so he's 1 corner away from an emotional, famous victory for the first time in Moto2. What a classic battle that those names have had in the past, but it's going to be Nagashima that's going to get it in Qatar.
Ken, who knew? Who knew that was going to happen? That's Marini who's gone down on the last long. What a race here.
Wow, Tetsuta Nagashima, just the last 5 or 6 laps on. Nagashima was just untouchable. His pace was sensational. He was